Your mind opens toward the white nothingness as if hanging in midair. And something living inside the maelstrom, invisible but perceptible, freezes in front of you, awaiting your command. Maybe Melville is right. Whoever gains control of the maelstrom will leave ordinary people disadvantaged anyway. Connected to the maelstrom, you order it to reduce its radiation level to non-lethal values, at the same time spreading to a larger section of the dome, thus widening the borders of neutral zones, such as Picnic. The maelstrom spinning grows faster. The mist above the ground shoots upward, enveloping you with a thick white fog. An endless nothingness with no borders or bottom. Yoko looks at you with glow. The robo-girl nods. Yoko's eyes change. The robo-girl.
Further studying of
The girl nods.
Command protocols are set. I am ready to...
Hanging her head, the woman looks up at you and she shrugs. Fox.
I'm coming with you.
Yellow dust is still hovering in the warm air, not yet settled down completely. Russo is standing near her tent, looking both peaceful and lost.
I feel as if they'd taken my favorite toy from me. I'm kidding. I'm glad you succeeded.
Henrietta shakes her sleeve of the desert dust, laughing.
Oh, I don't know. Buy another dozen pairs of colored socks. Learn how to play pool. Maybe start drinking out of sheer boredom. But seriously, we're under the dome. A scientist can always find something to do in such a place.
Melville stops rummaging in her backpack when you approach and shakes your hand silently.
I feel foolish. It happens sometimes. You don't believe till the last moment that they would look up to you. I hate that feeling.
She finally lets go of your fingers.
You do know it wasn't only picnic I went all out for.
The young woman snorts mockingly.
Do I look like Nakamura? People will decide themselves what happens next. That was precisely the point of keeping the Maelstrom, wasn't it?
Another milestone in the history of mankind has come to an end. Maelstrom, that you have awakened in the excavation zone at C-12 Nashville facility, has remained completely unexplored, much like the civilization of the forefathers that created it. Of course, Maelstrom was neither good nor evil. It probably turned out to be just a tool that humanity simply was not mature enough to wield. Perhaps it was a communication interface that tried to unite the minds of all the people under the dome. Or a security system that warned us against getting into contact with something unknown and dangerous. Or a creative force that transforms the world and awakens supernatural powers in some individuals. One thing is indisputable. Maelstrom, lost in its own creation, gave rise to your incredible mind. And once in your hands, it gave you the opportunity to change the fate of the world completely. Few receive such a chance, and naturally, you took it and made your choice. Your decision was controversial, as is any decision in the name of something so ephemeral as freedom. By coming into contact with Maelstrom, you weakened its destructive force, but at the same time expanded its zone of influence over the entire dome, instantly depriving the new committee and phalanx of their territorial advantage. Audrey Melville knew perfectly well where everything would lead. The strong became weaker, and the weak grew stronger. The time of universal equality has come, something for which perhaps only the residents of Picnic were ready. Thanks to your help, the new committee's power grew manyfold. The former Cronus became a totalitarian, bureaucratic empire. After Kurt Spengler became mayor of Junktown, the settlement started to change. Construction of the long-promised wall began. The number of police officers increased, and life in the inhospitable slums became a little safer and quieter, albeit poorer than before. Bethany Mortensen deserves some credit, as even after losing the election, she did not give up her idea of turning Junktown into a free economic zone. And although her idea did not succeed to the end, it was thanks to Bethany that the settlement did not slide into absolute poverty and lasted for many years, eventually becoming part of the city. The many-fold increase in controlling policies made life in the new committee almost insufferable. Magellan people raised a revolt, which was put down with a heavy hand. Elections took place in Carmine Heights. The Reisners kept their position. Your help had a significant effect on the settlement, and the community learned its lesson. Peace among its members became the highest priority of its internal policy and eventually led to the creation of the local parliament. The long-lasting, simmering conflict which had been ruining the marriage of Johann and Olivia gradually faded. The now wiser spouses managed to build a balanced settlement, combining both powerful scientific potential and productive agriculture. With the passage of time, Carmine Heights managed a small but technically equipped army to protect the Republic from invading forces. Zemeckis' embarrassment from losing the elections in Carmine Heights didn't last long. Hieronymus channeled all his passion toward transforming the Phalanx, trying to turn it from a private mercenary army to something bigger. One could say he failed. The false database you gave him did not allow Zemeckis to lure the new committee's key employees away, which was necessary to develop the Phalanx's own scientific projects. The Phalanx remained a community of mercenaries. The pocket country created by Hieronymus decayed gradually, becoming totally unpopulated after a couple of decades. Zemeckis himself died in 1999 after a long illness, seeing for himself both the rise and fall of the Phalanx. Your actions concerning the church were somewhat contradictory, and so played no significant role in its fate. As the new committee grew stronger, the church's position worsened. Its adepts started being harassed. The church was eventually eliminated by Kimiko Nakamura's decree. The spread of Mahlstrom to the entire dome and the ensuing threat of radiation led to a massive resettlement. Yesterday's phalangists and city dwellers scattered throughout the dome. For many, the picnic has become a temporary refuge. For some, their permanent home. Victoria was furious when she realized control over Mahlstrom had slipped from her grasp. Led by their queen, the Fops army roamed the dome for many years, attacking patrols, caravans, and occasionally travelers. The gang's life ended some 30 years later at the Phalanx Fortress, when the last surviving Fops clashed with the elderly Phalanx men. The fight was desperate, and there were no survivors. As for Victoria, she survived and wandered in the desert for a long time, until one day, weakened and completely insane, she was picked up by some bandits. They sold the former queen to a brothel, where she ended her existence. Victoria Legrand had every chance of dying of syphilis, but alcohol and progressive insanity killed her earlier. However noble her intentions, time proved Audrey's plan a failure. Universal freedom and independence did nothing at all to move technology forward or fund expensive research. The world under the dome was slowly changing into a single, sprawling village without scientific advancement, without medicine, without prospects. By the beginning of the new millennium, most of the independent settlements had sunk into oblivion. The rest were slowly dying, without the people, leadership, or resources to survive. Though it became obvious much later, after many years, by that time, the desert had covered your traces. Though the tale of what you'd done is still alive, and will stay like that till the end of time.